hey, you are Rochester. My business is art. When I'm creating a public piece, I'm thinking about how do we keep that enthusiasm, that drive, that connectivity that says, hey, I enjoy this city of Rochester.
We're a commercial real estate development company, and we've been promoting more activity downtown. If you look at the Metropolitan, the transformation from office space to apartments, we've got a couple hundred people living there now. What we're doing here at Innovation Square, we'll have about 280 students living here. The following August, we'll have probably 450. You bring that energy downtown, it's transformational.
Our work is to enable African Americans, Latinx communities, anyone that's been disadvantaged, to help them achieve economic mobility. We will get to the change that we all seek, but it takes a lot of work. It takes focus. It takes commitment.
You know, you see so many great people in this community that are contributing and helping to shape it, and I think we all have that ability to take their own talents, their gifts, and share them with people.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I love that video. Who's all in for Rochester? That's what I want to hear. You know, we've taken a different tack. Usually you give your first 100 days, but everyone knows that I like to march to the beat of my own drum. I said, we're not doing the first 100 days. Our budget starts July 1st. So we said, why not have a New Year's speech in the summer when it's 90 degrees outside and people are on vacation? So that's why you are here today. So I want to thank you all for being here. You know, we started out asking if you were all in, and it's music to my ears, because in my first 7 months as the mayor of Rochester, one thing has become abundantly clear. If I'm going to be the mayor of the city of Rochester deserves, I'm going to need your help and all the folks that are out listening to this. We need your help. I have a mantra that says, it's not me, it's we. And I brought that mantra with me when I took office. And I just want to recognize some of the folks that are here, and I hope I don't miss any of our elected officials. And I know some are vacationing. I saw County Executive Adam Bello. I want to thank you, President Miguel Melendez, Councilmember Lachey Harris, Councilmember Mitch Gruber, and my good friend Assemblymember Demond Meeks. Did I miss any other electeds that might have stopped in? I hope I didn't. If I did, just charge it to my head and not my heart. But, you know, over the last 7 months, I have come to appreciate that expression in ways I never could before as mayor. Not me, but we. It has become a way of life, something we live. And when I say we, I'm not talking only about my team at City Hall and myself. I'm talking about our partners in government at every level. My partners in the human service sector, and partners in the private sector, and most of all, our partners who are also our residents and stakeholders of the entire Rochester community, all of Rochester. We are Rochester, and I can tell you, Rochester is on the rise because we are all in for Rochester. I see it every day. The entire Rochester community is ready to come together and work together, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, to move this city forward, to move the entire region forward. One of the true joys of this job has been the enthusiasm and energy I feel as I travel around the city and meet people. And anyone that knows me, my wife can tell you this, I am out every weekend. When I'm out, a belief in Rochester comes through. It's in their voice. It's in their body language. And I tell people, when I travel around, I say, I call it the Rochester swagger. It's in their eyes. I see a confidence in Rochester that is truly inspiring and invigorating. And I get offers to help, to be a part of the solution. Yes, there is an honest recognition of our challenges, violence and education being at the top of the list. The utter senselessness of the violence we are seeing in our streets, we all know it is completely unacceptable. But you know what? I have seen so far, nothing I have seen so far has altered my outlook for Rochester's future. I tell people I still come to work every day with a spirit of optimism. Often that optimism can be challenged and punctuated by tragedy. Let's go back to my first business day in office, January 3rd. On Monday, January 3rd, my first business day in office, after canceling the mayor's ball, scaling down my inauguration to just friends and family, one of my first acts was to talk to the mother and father who had just lost their 14-year-old child, Julius Greer Jr. He had been shot while going to the store to buy noodles on a Sunday evening. That was a gut punch to me. I remember being sent to the corner store, Bob's, to go pick up dinner items when my parents asked me to go do the same thing. And I thought immediately about my own sons and my nephews, who are almost the exact same age of Julius. When I came to work that day, I was reminded in a major way that as leaders, we must be prepared to meet the challenges and tragedies that we may face, and they could be just around the corner. Challenges and tragedy, they can come at any time. But also that day, January 3rd, which seems like eons ago, that was also the first time I actually saw my senior management team to go to work. Within an hour on the job, they were already exceeding expectations. And I got a big kick out of seeing those that had never worked in government fumble their way around City Hall. Some of them hadn't even found their new offices, hadn't found the bathrooms at City Hall, but they were ready to get to work on behalf of the citizens of Rochester. And then later that day, it was a busy first day, and the county executive may remember this. I sat next to County Executive Adam Bello at a conference on COVID response led by Kathy Hope. You remember we had high numbers in the beginning of the new year. Like Happy New Year, here's COVID. And I remember feeling reassured that we were all going to support each other, not just in dealing with the pandemic, but with everything. I realized a lot of people were all in for Rochester. Even the state government. On my first day of the job, the governor was here to send a message that she was all in for Rochester. Between those many experiences, seeing my team inside city government get to work, and getting my first chance to work with my partners in other governments, it was crystal clear that collaboration and partnership must be at the center of what we do. Our bridge to the future will be built by working together. At the end of my first week, I said the job of being mayor is sobering and invigorating at the same time. And Lord knows, it still is. I was overwhelmed by the notes and calls of support from so many people saying they were here to lift up our city. It reinforced what I said in my inaugural address, that while I am mayor, an army of citizens are in this with me. They are all in for Rochester with me. And you know, there's an African proverb that says, don't stop planting crops because the birds are eating them. That's good advice, and we're following it at City Hall. So we're going to continue to keep planting those crops. Because when you come to work at City Hall, we do two things. We deal with the challenges of the day, and we make progress towards the future. We won't be paralyzed by hopelessness. We don't give into the bankruptcy of despair. And the people I come across every day, the ones with that Rochester swagger, also feel the same way. They see our challenges, but they express a sincere belief that Rochester's opportunities far outweigh those challenges. Despite everything they see in the news, they know Rochester is about to propel itself to the upper echelons of American cities. Great American cities, first and foremost, create an environment where every resident and employer can prosper. Great American cities that achieve the next level of greatness by attracting more residents and more employers who can see from the outside that something special is happening and want to be a part of it. We're sitting in a place right now, and I want to thank Andy Galena for hosting us here, of a place that can help create those great American cities. If you read today's Democrat Chronicle, there's a story about the transformation of this building and the young people from the colleges that are living here that we hope will continue to stay here. Great American cities that foster greatness from within and attract it from afar, and in doing so perpetuate more greatness. And our team hears me say this all the time, that it becomes self-perpetuating. So we call it self-perpetuating greatness. Rochester can be one of those cities. Rochester should be one of those cities. Rochester is one of those cities. Many of us know it. All of us in this room know it. I know it, and you know it. But for a very long time, we all shared a frustration that more people don't see that greatness. A feeling that something was holding us back. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and neighbors, partners and allies, I stand here tonight with a clear message. That day is coming, and it's coming fast. Rochester is on the verge of becoming one of America's truly great cities, and the rest of the world is going to see it too. And the reason is simple. The reason is simple. The people of this city and of this region are finally working together. Yes. I see the Mom Beach from our state delegation working together, county working together, city working together, human resources organizations working together. And thanks to the American Rescue Plan, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in the form of hundreds of millions of dollars to take Rochester to the next level. And I want to thank Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, and Congressman Morelli for delivering the American Rescue Plan, not only to the city of Rochester, but also to the County of Monroe, school district, and many municipalities throughout the region. And thankfully, this opportunity came at a time when leaders at every level of government, leaders in the private sector and leaders in the human service sector, are together. We're together. And there's a recognition that we won't get this opportunity again. And this is why we must seize this opportunity. And that's why I asked you to join me here tonight. I want to tell you what we're doing with our share of that opportunity at City Hall. My kids get tired of me reciting this quote, but I'm a big Wayne Gretzky fan. And anyone that's worked for me long enough knows that he said he was able to score all those goals because he did not go to where the puck was, but to where the puck was going to be. So I invited you here tonight to tell you where Rochester is going so you can join me in getting us there. And not only getting there, but also join me in actually moving Rochester forward. Looking back on the work we've accomplished since January, I have a clear image of where we're going. from the past 7 months. And I can tell you, yes, as my wife can attest to, I've had my share of sleepless nights and unexpected setbacks. And I can tell you, I was with 40 mayors 2 weeks ago. There's not a mayor in America who hasn't. There's a joke that's out there that Lyndon Johnson, when he was president, and it goes a little something like this. He was sitting in the Oval Office, and he was thinking about all the pressures of the presidency. And he said, man, this is a hard job. But he said, at least I'm not a man. But I can see that we are about to realize our vision to become a hope-filled city with an exciting future, which you know if you go into the elevators at City Hall, that is our North Star. We want to be a hope-filled city with an exciting future. You may ask yourself, what does that look like? What does that look like? First, a hope-filled city with an exciting future is a city that is safe, a city where neighbors and the police work together in the spirit of trust and collaboration. And one major reason people feel safe is because they have jobs, good-paying jobs, that give people a chance to build generational wealth. A hope-filled city with an exciting future also takes care of its children, all of its children. And one critical component of that environment is the neighborhood, the village. Hope-filled cities with an exciting future have strong and vibrant neighborhoods with residents who support each other like an extended family. And hope-filled cities with an exciting future don't just wait for the future, they build towards the future today and every day. They invest in their physical infrastructure, and they guide private development with vision and purpose. And finally, and most important, a hope-filled city with an exciting future is exciting and full of hope for everyone. It's a city where there are no barriers of opportunity. These 6 things, public safety, economic empowerment, youth development, strengthening neighborhoods, building towards a prosperous future, and equity, inclusion, and social justice. These are the components of hope. These are the elements of an exciting future, the nutrients of prosperity. If we focus on those 6 things, Rochester is designed and destined for greatness. And that's what we are doing at City Hall. That is where the puck is going. So let me tell you how we're doing it. As you know, I'm a banker, as my team sometimes know, and I know I scrutinize every contract and look at every dollar. But I like numbers, and I like the principles of sound investment strategies. And I miss giving that advice like I used to when I was in the financial service sector. But anyone that invests, and we all do, the first rule of investing is to set your goals, what we call the investment mandate. So when me and my team at City Hall and I set out to prepare our first budget earlier this year, the first thing we did was establish our key priority areas, those 6 components of a prosperous city I just mentioned. Our new fiscal year, like I said at the beginning, started July 1st. So for me, this is a new year. This is Happy New Year for me. I'm 1 month into the new year. I'm proud of this budget and the team of people who helped me put it together, and of the support that members of City Council have provided in passing this budget. And I'm thankful to the thousands, not hundreds, but thousands of city residents who took time out of their schedules to give us feedback we needed to make sure it reflects their hopes and dreams for Rochester and their own futures. But more importantly, I am proud of what we are already getting done with this budget. For me, this was more than a budget. It was our blueprint for prosperity, our roadmap to greatness. The first priority, and one that is probably on everyone's mind, is public safety. This is the right thing to do for moral reasons, and the smart thing to do for practical reasons. We won't achieve our vision for Rochester if people don't feel safe. And right now, public safety is not only our first priority, it is also our greatest challenge. The spike in violence we saw in Rochester, while not unique to Rochester, is something that mayors are seeing across the country. We're working to reduce this violence with a 3-part strategy: prevention, intervention, and suppression. And just like everything else we do, that strategy is a community-first strategy that relies heavily on collaboration and partnerships. Many of the prevention and intervention components all have been aligned to report under the Mayor's Office of Violence Prevention, led by Victor Saunders. Our budget provides more than $8 million towards these efforts. We have more than doubled the size of our Pathways to Peace Street outreach teams and added a new overnight shift to meet the people in our neighborhoods where they are and talk to them in real time. We have also created a specialized dispute intervention team to interrupt the cycles of violence and added a new reentry coordinator position to help residents navigate the transition from incarceration to freedom. And last month, under the Office of Neighborhood Safety, we launched our Peacemaker Fellowship, a focused personal development program focused on matching individuals who may get involved in violence with credible messengers and coaches who can show them a positive way. In the Office of Violence Prevention Services, we have also established the Rochester Peace Collective, which is a consortium of human service agencies and philanthropies to invest in community-based violence reduction initiatives. We're using $5 million from our American Rescue Plan allocation to provide seed money for the Peace Collective. We have a request for proposals out now to recruit interested parties, and the deadline to submit proposals is August 15th. I want to encourage anyone who's interested in being part of the Peace Collective to find the RFP on our website and submit a proposal. Also, as we talk about violence prevention, our Commissioner of Department of Recreation and Human Services, Shirley Green, is also playing a key role in violence prevention. We have expanded the size of our crisis intervention services to offer more healing support services to those who call 911 or 211 for help. And Dr. Green is actively converting our centers into safe havens where children can have fun and learn under the guidance of caring adults. Our violence suppression efforts are being led by our new Chief of Police, David Smith. I've gotten to know Chief Smith very well, and I want to thank him for his leadership during these challenging times. Can we give Dave Chief Smith is dealing with levels of violence in our city that nobody who has sat in that chair has ever seen. And on top of that, he's working with a staffing shortage of around 100 officers. The budget includes funding to hold a second police academy this year to speed up the hiring and replacement process. I also want to thank our partners at the Sheriff's Office, State Police, the U.S. Marshal's Office, who are a part of this collaboration as we seek to get the worst of the worst off of our streets. And one of the areas where we need the most help from our community is those that are coming forward when they hear about possible violence or when they know someone who may be thinking about committing a crime that they know they cannot take back. And we need to be able to move fast because with each shooting, the virus of violence continues to spread through the community. Friends and families of the victims decide to take justice into their own hands and they retaliate, which just keeps the cycle spinning. It's a race to the bottom. And as a community, we can bring that to an end. And I want to encourage, and I want all of us to send the message that we want to ask people to put their guns down. Put their guns down. Put their guns down. In addition to naming Chief Smith, we are also thrilled to have Keith Stitt joining the Rochester Police Department as our new Deputy Chief of Community Engagement. Keith comes from us from the New Jersey's prosecutor's office and worked with the community to help prevent and close homicide cases. As we seek to improve police-community relations, I am glad to have him on board to help us build trust in neighborhoods. Moving on to our second priority, economic empowerment. We are creating jobs by attracting employers, supporting entrepreneurs, and making sure we have a well-skilled and educated workforce to fill these jobs and keep them. Our commissioner, Dr. Green, in the Department of Recreation and Human Services, is also playing an instrumental role on this front. We dedicated $14.5 million from our American Rescue Plan Act funding to create a specialized fund to support the work of human service agencies that are actively engaged in the areas of workforce development and entrepreneurship. I often quote the book of Ecclesiastes that says there is nothing new under the sun. So instead of creating new initiatives, we're going to accelerate the work that's already taking place while also looking at emerging business and entrepreneurial opportunities. We have received proposals that total more than $70 million if we funded them all. And we will have an announcement on the awardees in the coming weeks. Clearly, this community has good ideas. That's why collaboration and partnership building is such a central focus of my administration. Our economic empowerment strategies also include further investments in our Young Adult and Manufacturing Training Program, or YAMTech, and rebooting our financial empowerment centers. In our finance department, under the leadership of Kim Jones, we added 2 new positions to support our minority and women-owned businesses so they and their employees can get an equal opportunity to bid on contracts for the millions of dollars in goods and services the city purchases each year. We added a business ambassador in the mayor's office to work with the financial empowerment centers to make sure that we are actively assisting small businesses and making sure that the mayor hears their voices. This person will also work with Commissioner Miller in the Department of Neighborhood and Business Development. Youth development is our third priority, and this is also a violence prevention strategy by investing in our young people. Every child in Rochester deserves an opportunity to reach their full potential, and we are doing all we can to help them with educational enrichment and employment experiences. Once again, our Department of Recreation and Human Services is at the forefront of this effort. Many of us may remember your first job. I remember one of my first jobs, and it was through city recreation. That transformed my life. And I know now Dr. Green is working to expand those opportunities for more youth. So that way more young people can experience the same things that I did when I was a teenager. We increased the stipend for our young people in the Summer of Opportunity program, and we've increased the pay scale for entry-level seasonal jobs like lifeguards and recreation aid to pay young people who fill them a living wage. Dr. Green is also taking proactive steps to make our centers more inviting to young people. And when I say steps, I mean that literally. On a day like today, one of the hottest days of the summer, Dr. Green and her team left their air-conditioned offices and went out into the neighborhoods to meet children and families where they live and tell them about all of the great programs that are available to them through our centers. This year, we saw a significant increase in applications for our Summer of Opportunity program. We will also be providing job training skill opportunities for young people who may be preparing for that next job. We have expanded recreation center hours at selected locations and are keeping many locations open on Saturdays. The Our Nights Out are giving our young people fun, productive nighttime activities at our sports complex. We will be relaunching our Pathways to Public Safety program in partnership with the Rochester City School District. This program prepares our future emergency responders by providing connections to fire, police, EMS, and 911 emergency communications. The success of this program is critical as we seek to prepare our future first responders. I want to thank my team at City Hall who are working to ensure this program is successful post-pandemic. Library Director Patty Utaro is also playing a major role in youth development. We're hiring more children's librarians, and our city branch libraries offer kinder camps to help rising kindergartners get ready for their first day of school in September. They also invested in technology upgrades for esports tournaments and offer career collaboration labs to let children explore more than 100 careers through virtual reality headsets. At the RPD, we're bringing back one of Rochester's all-time most popular programs, the Police Activities League. Talk about an idea that was long overdue. This was crucial. This is crucial as we seek to build trusted community partnerships to form the foundation of community policing. Our fourth priority is strengthening neighborhoods. Every neighborhood in Rochester should be a source of pride for its residents and a community that works together toward a common goal. Our Department of Neighborhood and Business Development is now under the direction of Commissioner Dana Miller. He knows that one of the most harmful influences on neighborhoods is disinvestment and the decay of properties that create blight and cause challenges for neighbors. So we're adding 8 more code enforcement officers to our inspection and compliance field. And we've created a position in our law department for an attorney to go after properties that refuse to comply with our codes, thus causing blight in our neighborhood. Now, if you don't know what disinvestment is, that's when someone buys a property with the intention to collect rent without any plans to maintain it or even pay their taxes. After they've squeezed every last penny out of the property, they walk away from it. And it goes vacant. And it becomes a blighting influence in the neighborhood. Now, we have some great landlords, but if you are one of these landlords, I'm here to tell you right now, those days are over. Your days of contributing to blight and destruction of the streets and neighborhoods at the expense of our residents is over. We will be coming after the blighted, dilapidated structures, both commercial and residential, with the full force of the law. Stepping up our code enforcement was one of the recommendations of the Rochester Housing Quality Task Force, which I convened in February under the leadership of Aqua Porter of the Rochester Monroe County Anti-Poverty Initiative and Carol Wheeler, our manager of housing. Again, that is an example of collaboration. We had city council members that also served on that. So I want to thank those task force members for serving on that. We're also working to counteract that disinvestment with programs like our Buy the Block program, which is going to build 100 new homes in the neighborhood between Hudson and North Clinton Avenues, an area which still struggles from the effects of redlining and segregation. The Greater Rochester Partnership and Ibero-American Development Corporation are making great progress on this program. We're going to break ground on the first of those houses in just a few weeks. This is another great example of maximizing your return on an investment with collaboration and project alignment. Buy the Block is going to complement investments by our housing partners, including Pueblo Nuevo, Edna Craven Estates, Upper Fall Square, and New Genesis Development. And Councilmember Harris, we're going to get over to the west side very soon. Our fifth priority is building toward a prosperous future. Infrastructure investment. Rochester's roads, bridges, and buildings don't reflect a modern reality. As we work to rebuild our city with large-scale construction projects, we are focusing on improving our quality of life and delivering environmental justice to Black and brown residents of neighborhoods that were torn apart by past construction projects. Many of these projects are moving forward under the direction of Rich Perrin, our Commissioner of Environmental Services. Rich, you're a proven innovator. He brings decades of experience as a transportation planner in both private enterprise and public policy, and I know I drive him crazy all the time. But he also understands that infrastructure isn't limited to hardscapes like roads and bridges. Our tree canopy is a prime example of going beyond the brick and mortar. I have made it clear that greenery must be in every quadrant of our city. Our residents deserve it. immediately saw trees for what they are, a form of city infrastructure that served a valuable function. He and Building and Parks Bureau head, Brian Liberty, got to work coming up with a plan to plant an additional 6,000 trees on city streets over the next 4 years. From Tremont to the Inner Loop North, we are bringing long overdue environmental justice to our neighborhoods, and we're making incredible progress on our Rock the Riverway program. So far this year, we've broken ground on 2 new projects, Erie Harbor and the Brewery Line Trail, and we cut the ribbon at the West River Wall and North Star Commons, and just 2 days ago, the Rundale Library North project. Aqueduct Reimagined, the capstone project of the Rock the Riverway initiative, is moving full speed ahead, and we're getting ready to launch the next phase of the Rock City Skate Park, Councilmember Group. All of this work will complement the pending move of Constellation Brands to the Aqueduct building. You're witnessing the transformation of Rochester's physical landscape before your very eyes. The Inner Loop project alone will be a game changer that will not only restore connections between downtown and our northeastern neighbors, it's going to create 28 acres of shovel-ready development land for new investment. Black and brown neighborhoods that were ripped apart by the Inner Loop are going to be restored with housing, boutique commercial districts, and green space. And I want to thank thanks to Kathy Hopo and our state delegation. They dedicated $100 million to fully fund the Inner Loop North. The conversation about this project is not a if, with, now, woulda, shoulda. It's not a if, it's when. That is absolutely crucial for attracting private investment. This funding was welcome news during my first few months in office. Not only do I appreciate Governor Hochul's financial support, I am grateful for her vision. Under her leadership, state-level investment in Rochester, both large and small, now align perfectly with our own projects. The governor's decision to build the High Falls State Park at the foot of the High Falls dovetails with the rest of the Rock the Riverway programs, as well as the Inner Loop North. This will only be probably the 3rd urban state park in all of New York State. Her investment in the Downtown Revitalization Initiative will bring much-needed reinvigoration to Main Street between Clinton Avenue and the river, extending the positive impact of the Midtown project. Citizens, colleagues, you will finally stop hearing me scream about the corner of Main and Clinton. Speaking of Midtown, let's not forget the great things that are happening there. The sight of so many people gathering at Parcel 5 during the Jazz Fest sent a loud and clear message that Rochester is on the rise, contributing to the largest attendance numbers in the history of the festival. Having all the Jazz Fest headliners on Parcel 5 for the first time generated a positive response from the community and was a great display of the beauty that makes up Rochester. Finally, our 6th priority is equity, inclusion, and social justice. These goals are embedded within all of our priorities, but we also have to recognize them as priorities of their own. Because without them, none of the other priorities are possible. You can see the commitment to equity at play in programs like our MWBE expansion, the tree planting initiative, and By the Block. But we've also dedicated an additional $1 million in the budget to implement more of the recommendations from the report from the Commission on Racial and Structural Equity. Internally, at City Hall, Liliana Ruiz, our Director of Special Projects, is leading this effort in collaboration with every city department. As we also talk about equity and inclusion, Lily has also brought new life to the Pillars of Hope, a student mentorship program. And last month, we hosted our first Total Health and Wellness Fair at Lightfoot Square to kick off the Total Health and Wellness Initiative, which will help us close the health disparities in underserved communities. This is another example of a partnership between City Council and the county. And I believe the next Total Health and Wellness Fair will be held in August at the International Plaza in about a couple of weeks. We also are continuing to work on the Rock the Block Community Employment Fairs under the leadership of Councilmember Miguel Melendez, which brings employers right into neighborhoods to connect them with job seekers. And the next Rock the Block is Saturday, August 13th at Abraham Lincoln School 22. I want to thank all of my council colleagues for their work and important partnership on these very important initiatives. So there you have it. Those are our 6 key priorities in 6 critical areas. But because I didn't want to keep you here all night, there are so much more things that fall under each of those categories. But public safety, economic empowerment, youth development, strengthening neighborhoods, infrastructure, equity, and social justice. That's our roadmap to greatness, our path forward. The progress we're making on these priorities and the people I work with are the reason I come to work every day, full of hope and excitement. But as I said, it's not about me, but we. And we all must continue to play that role of collaboration to get Rochester to the next level. Booker T. Washington said, if we want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. And that is the beauty of our collaboration and partnerships. When we help each other, we're helping ourselves. We are Rochester, every single one of us. So let's together continue to be all in for Rochester. Thank you all for coming out and have a great day.